Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the movie The Night Comes for Us. I saw this on Netflix, and I had heard about it because the director of this is potentially attached to doing the Sleeping Dogs video game adaptation movie, and I'm like, okay, let's kind of see what's going on here. Watch the trailer, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of an older movie, but like 2018-ish. So, it's not a big kind of thing, and I sat down and I enjoyed it. It's your typical kind of a redemption crime drama thing kind of going on, but the action scenes are pretty well done. It's really kind of strange because there are certain people that had action scenes. I'm like, what the fuck? Seriously? They had some really good ones. And we've got, let's see here. Scroll down here. Cast. Joe Taslim as Ito. I know him more from Warrior. Let me see. Oh, he was in The Raid as well. Star Trek Beyond, huh? Let me see. Yeah, Warrior. And Iko Uwais, who's from The Raid as well. And Mile 22. They're both pretty good action stars, and this movie I think sold that pretty well. Taslim's character Ito very much has a kind of a gravitas because he's one of the 6 C's, who are these like assassins in the triad that they go and they pretty much scorch earth kind of shit. He very much has a kind of John McClane kind of role in this, i.e. he gets put into this kind of impossible situation where, yes, he's kind of trained for this, but he keeps going through it and gets a holy shit beaten out of him throughout the entirety of the movie. So, and Aryan is Uwais' character as well, and they both were in the same kind of gang. Aryan pretty much trying to chase after Ito pretty much owning up to fuck-ups that the gang did to kind of go into the 6 C's and go on through there. So we begin the movie and we see that the 6 C's have pretty much taken out this village and they're getting ready to execute this kid. However, we find out that Ito has had a change of heart, decides to kill the rest of the triad members around and tries to save this girl. We do not have much on her, except that all these people are trying to save her, even her villagers, and she's just like, why is everybody still dying and everything? It just really fucking weighs on her. And that's about the extent that we get of her kind of character development. She does kind of explain how she kind of feels about the people once she gets pretty much left alone with Ito at a certain point. But it's more of the kind of plot device of he's kind of tired of the life and he kind of wants to get out, and he couldn't kill this girl. And I wish they kind of dug a little bit more onto that, but it's motivation enough for me to be like, alright, let's see what's kind of going on. Of course, the triad's like, fuck that shit, and decides to throw everything that they can at him. So he kind of goes to his girlfriend, and she kind of patches him up. He kind of like just passes out and sees what the fuck's kind of going on, and she does get help by his old crew, and she gets out of there and then kind of like just drops the fuck off after a certain point because the triad sends all these people into there, and we get let's see, Netflix's subtitles were a little bit weird. I thought this dude's name was Faith, but Fatih, I think is his name. Because I'm looking in the Wikipedia and it goes more with saying Fatih throughout it. And this is in Jakarta, by the way. And the little girl's name is Reina. But in the subtitles, it was calling him Faith for a good little bit. And then would suddenly flip it to that. And I'm like, okay. And we also got White Boy Bobby, who was like a drug addict. His kind of indiscretions led to that. He actually lost his leg. And he's like, what the fuck's kind of going on? So he pretty much gets sent to this one place to try and get money and passports to kind of get them out. We also get that Aryan pretty much gets turned on to them as well. He's running this nightclub in Macau. These gangster crooks are being assholes in the club, and he fucking destroys them. shoving a glass into a dude's mouth and then just slamming his head down onto it. They try and they had beat up one of the hostesses and tried to take one hostage, and he's like, nah, motherfucker. It's like, okay, so he's pretty good. Ito's pretty good, because we then see Ito try and get on this kind of errand boy that used to be kind of connected with their gang, and he's kind of like this butcher dude. That was a gnarly kind of scene, because like, oh yes, at first the dude's kind of afraid, and then Ito's like, okay, fuck this. He tried to like shoot him with a gun, and it's like, no, that's not gonna happen right now. And then seeing like his 7 guys, that was a pretty good one in this kind of butcher scene. You could kind of tell that the meat was kind of fake, but I mean, I would rather prioritize actor safety rather than like complete authenticity within that kind of thing. And it's gnarly. Like, he's hanging one dude on a shoulder on a meat hook, and the effects for blood, guts, and gore in this, great. Now, it doesn't go into the realm of Saw hostile torture porn level, where it just kind of gravitate, like, just like, look at all this, and like revels in the disgustingness. But it's definitely a step up on certain kind of things in action movie wise, and doesn't rely heavily on CGI, even though there can be some going on. If there is, I couldn't really tell. I'm like, go for the effects, and chopping off people's legs and arms and shit like that. He almost gets blasted by the fucking dick shit dude. And he's able to get money and stuff like that, and figuring out who he's kind of calling. Evidently, they have enough connections for the police to pretty much come involved, tase the shit out of Ito, and like capture him. And of course, that's when the whole operation with the pretty much hatchet gangs going on with his old crew. And we see his old crew just beating unholy ass, but still, it's a war of attrition. We see Fatih getting wounded. We see Bobby getting wounded. We even see Fatih's cousin getting wounded as well, trying to save Reina. He is the kind of greenest out of them, and gets fucked up the kind of most, until these kind of upper tier kind of assassins are kind of going on. One that's kind of similar from Kill Bill, the ball swinging one, but this one's got a little kind of just a ball thing and a garrote wire kind of thing. And then this other lady with a kukiri knife that pretty much takes down and decimates and kills White Boy Bobby. But he's like, fuck this shit, to try and save his friends as much as possible. That's, of course, when Aryan kind of pops in, where this old tiger kind of dude pretty much tasks him with pretty much taking out Ito and the gang because of what's kind of going on, and also taking out the little girl. Even though at this point you're drawing so much goddamn fucking attention of going after this little girl, it's almost a moot point of just like, you should have just let her kind of disappear. You're making more of a fuss than you need to at this point, drawing more attention and more scrutiny on yourselves because you can't seem to kill her. And it's like, drop it. But it's like, nope. And we see that Fatih pretty much shoots at him, but we see later on that, of course, he's the big main one that Ito's going to fight later on. We see him kind of going around trying to do all this kind of stuff with the car, getting introduced to this kind of operator person. I don't know if they're Interpol or whatnot, but they're evidently going after the old Tiger and 6C's kind of stuff. And they've got an interest in Ito if he is a 6C member still, but they're kind of like, no, because after he's able to get to Reina, he's kind of holed down in this one place, and she pretty much just tells him a little bit about that, and it's about the extent of it. And we're like, well, let's see what kind of goes on as he's attempting to get down to the end bit of this. Let's see. And of course, what is a big kind of thing is for Aryan to become the new member of the 6Cs after taking out Ito. Let's see. Yeah, there's that. That. Because Fatih was pretty much sure that only Aryan knew where they were, so he pretty much sold them out. Let's see. One really great scene was that Ito was like freeing himself from the police, And it was nuts, and especially because it's in a kind of enclosed kind of space in this kind of armored police van. He's just doing all kind of crazy stuff, utilizing weapons, blowing people's heads up with their kind of guns, and how he's able to angle stuff, utilizing this grenade that flips the fucking thing, and him just kind of like discombobulating, getting out of there and looking like, holy goddamn shit, I just went through some fucked up shit. And then jacking a dude's car to try and like get out of that situation, like, oh, dude, I need out of here. And she, of course, brings up that Aryan's in Jakarta as well. And it's like, alright. Let's see. And the thing is that Aryan kind of stopped Alma from killing Fatah. And Chen Wu gives him, like, one last chance. And that they're like, hey, we need to cause chaos in Jakarta so the Triad can increase their presence there. Pretty much taking over the whole area and doing their own kind of stuff. However, I don't think this is causing the chaos that they kind of want. It shows more of an incompetence kind of thing of like, okay, you want to rule this kind of place. People should feel vaguely protected by you if you're setting yourself up as like protection racket, taking over all this kind of stuff. Because if you're like, all right, yeah, because evidently Bobby was like making deals with the Triad outside Ito's approval, and of course he left the gang to make peace with the Triads, and Aryan was following him as well. And this then splits up a little bit. Ito kind of going off on his own. The operator actually protecting Reina and fighting Elena and Alma. And that was a kind of gnarly fight. Being able to showcase each kind of character's fighting style and everything. That's an important aspect to me within action movies. Because even if you don't give a character a lot of dialogue or character development on that kind of front, you can totally do it in action scenes, which a lot of people just, like, kind of gloss over. Like, action in an action movie is just as pivotal as talking and dialogue in other movies. You see how a character thinks and what they attempt to do to achieve their objectives within these action scenes. How they utilize the environment. If they kill or if they don't kill. If they wound, how severely they wound. Are they trying to take someone out or trying to just completely incapacitate them? Those are important aspects within action movies that I think a lot of people kind of gloss over, mainly because most of the examples of action movies don't do this. They do what is the cool set piece that the director or the writer or the executive at that point wants to achieve, and they don't think about the consequences of what it means for the character. Yeah, it would be cool if, like, your main character launches a fucking car at a helicopter. But you kind of have to be like, why would they be doing that? Can they do that? If you've got, like, someone that doesn't understand the physics, doesn't understand the cars or the vehicles, and you don't kind of really build that up, or it's like someone that's never even seen vehicles before, it's like, alright, cool, and then you're like, alright, screw the suspension of disbelief. But we don't get that here. We see how they kind of fight one another, how the operator is able to turn the Balgarot weapon against the one lady, and is just like taking out and utilizing the knife tactics against the Kakiri wielding lady. Also, there's one kind of weird bit. She used, like, a lot of this C4 that I would think would probably have leveled the building because they'd sent people in as well. And we get this, like, giant charnel kind of hallway. And I'm like, the amount of C4 she had in there should have at least blew the wall out. Maybe even fucked up the floors and shit, but it was okay. And they kind of start fighting in there later on. And she, the operator loses a finger, but she disembowels and fucking, like, almost takes off her head as she kind of, like, rolls down the stairs. It's like, god damn, she's pretty damn good. Let's see. So Ito then pretty much gets to their old kind of hangout and just starts taking on people like ain't nobody's business. I mean, he's been going pretty hard for about a day and a half at this point, I think. Yeah. And him just utilizing what he can, utilizing pool cues, bloody use of pool balls as well to like bash in people's heads and all that. And he's just like, he actually created his own body armor with fucking phone books, taping him to himself so that way he's fresh enough for the fight that's coming in with him and Aryan later on. It's like, yeah, like we even had a sniper that's pretty much trying to take his ass out, but Aryan takes that sniper out so that way they can have their kind of fight and see what's what. And it's a brutal one. They're utilizing a lot of weird kind of shit. They don't utilize like the giant wrenches and shit that we see around this place, but they are just bang out brutaling, taking each other out. Ito is pretty much like, okay, you are in pieces at this point, man. And Aryan gets like his neck like ripped by like this kind of shim thing that Ito's able to have, and Aryan's pretty much telling him to kill him. He's like, I don't need to kill, it's already dead. Pretty much going off, gives Reyna the passport and stuff and tells her to go, and yelling at her to go as she goes off, and we see her going on the boat as Ito stays in this kind of car and drives at Chenwu because they've already killed Aryan at this point for his failure, and he's just like, fucking shit. Aryan at that point. And then Ito's like the same, they're shooting at him and everything as he's driving the car, and that's where the film cuts. We don't know if he takes out Chenwu, the old tiger. We don't know if he survives, if the car blows up, what kind of goes on there. But the thing is, he is fighting against the triads, and he is fighting to protect this little girl. So I kind of go more optimistic on the thing and kind of would like him to either go out in a blaze of glory and take out Chenwu, or take out Chenwu and still survive and kind of live on a little bit after a point to have it so that way his friends' sacrifices mean a little bit more. But the girl got away, so their sacrifices still meant something anyway. So I would actually recommend this. Thing is, it's in subtitles, so you have to watch out for that if you have vision impairments. But you also have to watch out because I don't know if the subtitles are always correct. You can get pretty much the same kind of gist, but I mean, I thought the dude's name was Faith for like a good chunk of the film because that's what it was fucking put at. I'm like, alright. So I actually don't know what that dude's name is. I mean, Wikipedia says one thing, the fucking subtitles say another, so good on with that. But this is definitely an action movie, and if you're into that, I think you'll have a good time. If you're not into the blood, guts, and gore, not into the action and everything, that's quite alright, not really for you. I would definitely recommend to skip on that point. But definitely an interesting director. I'll have to see what kind of goes on if they do Sleeping Dogs and what they kind of work out for. But since they are dealing with the triads in the underworld, I think there would be a pretty good fit. And then going on with the action as well, fitting in with that, I think that'd be pretty good. And I like this. Even though there's some weirdness kind of going on, it's not completely insane. And more kind of like, that was a lot of C4. That probably should have leveled the building. So, those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.